Hi everyone, my name is Angie and this is me, Manager Habitat. So last month we made our own custom keyboard cable. I've since made more, but they're mainly for like charging purposes. And today we are going to build our first custom keyboard. I call it custom, but there's actually not much customization to do. So I bought the drop control keyboard bare bones. So it basically comes with the PCB as well as like the magnetic feet and everything. So there's really not much customization to do. Although we will be modding the stabilizers. So I've read some reviews that the stabilizers actually not that great on this bare bones kit, the stock ones that is. So a lot of people actually go on and buy other brands of stabilizers, which I don't think I need at this moment because I'm not sure if I can tell the difference. I'm just not that familiar with like the whole mechanical keyboard stuff yet. So first, let's open this up. I've read reviews about how this keyboard can be a little bit noisy because of the steps that's at the bottom of the stabilizer. So today we're going to be cutting those off as well. So this is the control bare bones. It looks really fancy. It's like a nice aluminium finish. Feels high quality. So there's actually a high profile version of this keyboard which I actually didn't consider because I actually like my switches to sit above the front face of the keyboard. So the high profile ones, the switches are sitting underneath, which can create a lot of problem for like dust and all that kind of stuff. So I just decided not to go for that kind. This particular keyboard is also hot swappable, so I can change out the switches as and when I want, which I don't think is a problem at this point in time. So this is the base, and then some other things that comes with in the box. We have these two magnetic stands. They've since improved these from the original version because there were issues of this not really sticking very well, like the magnet is not strong enough, and if you push the keyboard in a direction sideways, it will just fall off. So we'll see whether that makes it any better. They have a key, it comes with a cable as well as keycap puller and a switch puller. So we'll just leave these all one side. So first things first, I want to sort out the stabilizers, so we are going to remove all of them and basically remove the step that's at the bottom of the stabilizer. Let me see if I know how to pull this out. Okay, now that is done. So this is what the bare bone looks like with the stabilizers back in place. I will put on these magnetic feet first before we move on. So they are supposed to like stick on really nicely. Shouldn't be moving that much, although if you like push in one direction, they might come off. Yeah, so not that great, but you shouldn't need to be like pushing it sideways with like a lot of force in any case. So this is how it looks like. So for the switches, I actually went for the Kale Chinese green switches. I like clicky switches. I don't really like the linear or the tactile given a choice. So I went for the Chinese green ones. They are a bit lighter, like they're not that heavy. I actually really like the box whites, but they are a bit too light. So I'm worried that if I'm gonna use it for like extended periods of time, that lightness will get even lighter, if that makes any sense. So I went for the Chinese greens. They came in this like nice little packaging. I have like 3 boxes of these and like a ziploc of like spare ones. So we're gonna fit this in first. If I'm not wrong, this space at the top should be what lets the LED light through, which in this case will be like this. Am I right? Yes, I am. Okay. So we shall be installing all these, and we'll come back in a bit. This is so satisfying. Okay, so the switches part is done. So the keycaps that I actually went for this particular build is the Mistel Smurf edition. The reason why I chose this is because I really like the blue. It has the closest blue to the blue that I always use in all my other stuff. So there's a little bit of like branding thing going on. So this is why I chose the Mistel ones. I wanted to go for backlit keycaps, but those are really hard to find in, first of all, in the blue that I wanted, and also I was trying to look for keycaps that has Korean alphabets printed on. So what I've been doing is I've been using stickers. So I've got like these stickers pasted over my keycaps, which after a while of use can get a little bit frustrating because it starts to have like wear and tear, and just doesn't feel good typing on it anymore. So I really wanted to find the kind that basically has them all printed on the keycaps itself. So those are really hard to come by with backlit, so I just kind of gave up on that whole idea. So what I found was these 2 set of keycaps. So one has this like really nice sakura pink, very like Japanese, really pretty. I like these a lot. The other one is this black and white keycaps, which I think will suit my blue ones quite nicely because the blue keycaps actually has like white lettering, and the size of the letters actually quite big as well compared to this set. This set has like really nice thin fonts, whereas these fonts are a little bit thicker. So I think this will fit the blue ones a bit nicer. So we will install these 2 and see how that turns out. I mean, otherwise I might just install like a full set by itself. So we shall see how that goes. So the bulk of the keyboard is done, and I've realized the problem because I'm combining like two sets of keycaps, right? There is a big difference in the height of the keycaps. So if I take these two keys, for example, on the surface, it doesn't look like there's a lot of difference, like other than the font and the size of the print, it looks about the same, but the thickness of the keycaps is drastically different, which actually made this set of words, like letters, feel like it's sunken down a little bit. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And since the height of the keycaps is so different, right, I'm gonna stick to like one set for the main part of this keyboard, and then this I want to do with the rest. Okay, so there you have it. This is a set. This is the drop control keyboard, the 10 keyless one. I am not sure how I feel about this. It's certainly helpful to have like the characters there, but the difference in height is a bit throwing me off. So basically each row of key caps has like a different height. So these two rows will generally have the same height, and these two rows will generally have the same height, but this is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they all have different height. But for the keycaps here, because I'm using two separate sets of keycaps, the variation in height is quite drastic. So it's really obvious if I put it up this way. So the bottom rows of alphabets basically disappeared underneath the bottom row of keycaps, which shouldn't be the case. But I'm not sure it is something that I'm just gonna get used to, or I might change it out. So I'm just gonna leave it as is first, and then we'll see. Before we go on, I actually do have something else. So I got myself a macro pad. So the idea is I'm gonna configure this macro pad to the left side of my keyboard. So what the goal will be ultimately is that I will use this if I'm streaming a gameplay. You wouldn't want to hear this while I'm streaming. But I got the macro pad in like linear switches, which I really don't like. I prefer to like feel the keys that I'm pressing. So I will be swapping it out for tactile switches.
1 week later.
Now it's been a week, and as you can see, I've got the macro pad done. So what I ended up going with is these Akko Ocean Blue switches. So these are tactile switches that's actually really light. So the actuation weight is about like 36 grams, which makes it really light, really easy to press, which is something that I enjoy. And as you also can see, I've got my drop keyboard set up already. After I set this up, I couldn't really go back to using my Logitech, so I just went ahead and replaced my keyboard. So this one is all done now. I will be including the time lapse of how I resoldered this whole thing right here. So knowing me, by this point, I'm an extremely careless person. So I actually burnt two of my switches by accident. I was trying to remove the LED light that's that's underneath the W and E key. So as you can see, there's no light coming from underneath these two switch, which is not very obvious because the light still bounces off all the other keycaps, which looks like it's lighting up, but in reality it's not. So what happened is the the Akko switches has like a slimmer slimmer slot for LED lights. So the original switch that came with the macro pad is actually the Otemu Reds. Is that how you pronounce it? These are linear switches, which I hate. I'm sorry all the linear users out there, but I just feel I'm pressing on cotton. I just don't like it. So I went ahead and found myself the Akko Ocean Blue, which is a really light switch and it's tactile, so there is some form of feedback when I press down on a key. And the slot for the LED is actually a lot slimmer than the Otemu ones. So what I ended up have to do is I tried to re-solder the LEDs to like push it inwards a little bit more so that I can basically squish the switch on, but that didn't work out as well as I thought it would. So what I ended up doing was just removing the two LEDs that was underneath there. So these two keys in particular, for some reason, had like two LEDs. I assume it's because you can actually program this macro pad, like there's like 4 different layers of buttons that you can program, which is why there's like 2 separate LED below, so you know which layer you are using at all times. But I don't need that function because I plan to use this for gaming, so I just 1 layer of keys, that's all I need. So yeah, this is all programmed. Everything is programmed according to the buttons here as well. So what I ended up doing was putting escape and function 5 here. So these are basically toggling, the escape basically toggles the menu of my games. The F5 toggles the view, so there's like first person, third person view. And then this is a shift key, which I do not have like a small shift key to put here, so I use the down button as a replacement, because usually you in games when you press shift you are trying to sneak, so you're crouching, so I guess this works. And I've also put a shift key here. That's because like usually when I'm like holding down shift a lot, it gets tiring on my pinky, so I put it somewhere near my thumb. And this is the space bar, which is the jump in game. Then I have control alternate, and this button basically just toggles on and off my LED lights. That's about it. So now let me pull up something so you can hear what this sounds like. It's actually still a little bit loud, but definitely not as loud as this. Okay, I can understand why people like tactile keys now, but I still like my clickies. I like my keyboard noisy. So yeah, so here's the macro pad. This comes with its own software to program what keys you want to put where, and it's quite intuitive. I got this one off China, so but I managed to find the exact model and the software that US users would use, or English speaking users use. So and that worked with this product, even though this is probably like an OEM model from China. So yeah, this is my setup right now. This macro pad is probably just gonna sit here for gaming when I do play games. The one thing that's actually I'm not used to is missing my 10 key, my numpad here. That's something that I've gotten really used to for a long time. Like I've always been using full-size keyboards. So now that I'm on a 10 keyless, it's kind of strange to have like an empty space here, and like I reach across for the enter key that's here all the time, but now it's no longer here, and yeah, it's just things that I need to get used to. Oh, another thing which I think I forgot to address was why my Windows and Control keys are swapped the other way around. I have a key modifier on my PC which basically lets me change the location of any key that I want, and in my case I swapped these two buttons because on the Mac the command has the same function as the control key, but that two buttons on the standard keyboard are basically like on the opposite side of each other. So usually the control will be here and the command will be here, which is something that I'm not used to. So what I did on my Mac was I modified it so that the Windows key then becomes the command key and the alternate stays where it is. Because on a Mac you still have the alternate key, just called options. So I basically kept the location of the alternate key and changed the Windows key into the command key, and after that, moving back to a Windows computer, that became really confusing, so I added a modifier on my PC that basically swapped these two buttons. So this one opens up my Windows start menu now, and this is my control. So this is why these two is swapped. This side is untouched, so nothing special going on here. So this has been really fun. I'm loving my keyboard. I've been using it for like a week now. There are some like preset light functions that I've been playing with. So like I could turn it off and put it on like various modes. But I'm just leaving it on this RGB wave for now. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll probably include like the sound of me typing on this keyboard and a macro pad at the end of the video. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.